She stands beneath the brutal Texas sun, 63 years old, hair whipping in the wind, eyes that've seen every circle of hell and come back steady. To most of America, Demi Moore is simply famous. Ghost, the shaved head, the Vanity Fair pregnant cover, the tabloid marriages. But the woman on screen right now, commanding boardrooms in Taylor Sheridan's Landman, is carrying a lifetime most people couldn't survive a single chapter of. This isn't a comeback hype, this is resurrection. And it started in places so dark she once thought daylight would never find her. Demetria Jean Gwines was born November 11, 1962, in Roswell, New Mexico. Her biological father, Charles Harmon, left before she drew breath. Her teenage mother, Virginia, married Dan Gwines 2 months later, a charming alcoholic salesman who gave Demi his last name and a childhood spent running. By 14, she had moved more than 40 times, some counts say closer to 50. Motels, trailers, apartments with locks that never worked long enough to feel safe. Poverty was constant. Violence was louder. Virginia drank like it was oxygen. The fights with Dan shattered glass and eardrums in equal measure. Demi learned to read the tremor in her mother's hand, the slur in her voice, the exact second a night would turn ugly. At 12, she pried barbiturates out of Virginia's throat with her own fingers, counting pills like rosary beads, begging her mother to stay alive long enough to hate her tomorrow. Suicide attempts became a grim family tradition. A little girl became the only adult in the room, while the adults played at disappearing. Then came 15. A man her mother knew, someone in his late 40s, came to their apartment one night. Demi let him in. He raped her. Afterward, he tossed $500 on the counter and said, "How does it feel to be whored by your mother for $500? Virginia either arranged it or looked the other way. Demi has never been able to decide which betrayal hurt more. She told no one. The shame moved in permanently, took the best room, and stayed for decades. At 16, she quit high school, waitressed, modeled in Europe for cash, and landed in Los Angeles with one suitcase and a hunger that scared people. She married musician Freddie Moore at 18, borrowed his last name, and divorced him at 23. Cocaine kept the memories quiet. Hollywood only asked if you could hit your mark. 1985 detonated everything. Street Elmo's fire made her the female heartbeat of the Brat Pack. Beautiful, reckless, heartbreaking jewels. 5 years later, Ghost turned her into a global religion. The short black haircut, the pottery wheel scene, the tears when Patrick Swayze's Sam said goodbye. America fell so hard the movie grossed $500 million and still feels like a collective memory. By 1996, she was making $12.5 million a picture, the highest paid actress who ever lived. She shaved her head for G.I. Jane, posed naked, and 7 months pregnant for Annie Leibovitz. Produced her own films, bought houses most people only fly over. From the girl who once shared a single bedroom with roaches to the woman on the cover of every magazine. It looked like the ultimate American redemption arc. But childhood fault lines don't care about box office records. Bruce Willis crashed into her life in 1987, cocky, funny, bruised in all the same places. They married in Vegas 4 months later, threw a second wedding for the cameras, and had 3 daughters in 6 years. Rumor, Scout, Tallulah. For a while, the fairy tale held. Then the cracks spread. Bruce wanted a wife at home. Demi wanted to keep proving she wasn't the girl who once had nothing. The miscarriage at 42 broke something neither of them knew how to fix. They separated in 1998, divorced in 2000. Amicable on paper, devastating in practice. Ashton Kutcher arrived in 2003, 15 years younger. Famous for punking celebrities, suddenly punking the world by falling for the ultimate 90s icon. They married in 2005 in a Kabbalah ceremony at home. For 6 years the tabloids feasted. Cougar headlines, age gap obsession, every smile dissected. When the infidelity stories broke in 2011, Demi unraveled publicly. Cocaine, nitrous, a seizure that landed her in the hospital while cameras waited outside. The divorce was final in 2013. Her daughters, teenagers watching their mother disappear into pills and headlines, pulled away. She was 50, rich, famous, and completely alone. That's when the real work began. Rehab. Real rehab this time, not the movie version kind. Therapy that dug until it hit the rape she had never spoken about, only once before, in whispers. EMDR to rewire the nervous system that still flinched at sudden loud voices. 12-step meetings in church basements where nobody cared that she once made $12 million a picture. She got sober for keeps. She learned that shame dies when you drag it into daylight and name it out loud. In 2019, she published Inside Out. No ghostwriter, no sugar, just the truth. The childhood, the rape, the pills from her mother's throat, the $500 on the counter, the miscarriage, the seizure, all of it. The book debuted at #1 and stayed there for weeks. Mothers wrote to her sobbing. Her own daughters read it, saw the war their mother had been fighting since before they existed, and came home. Slowly, carefully, they rebuilt what addiction and silence had torn down. And now, in the fall of 2025, she has walked back onto a television set and reminded the world why it fell in love with her in the first place. In Landman Season 2, Demi plays Cammy Miller, West Texas oil widow whose billionaire husband dies in the first minutes of the season when his private plane drops out of the sky. Overnight, the decorative wife becomes the most powerful woman in the patch. Surrounded by roughnecks and board members who never took her seriously, she puts on her dead husband's Stetson, wipes the tears, and starts running an empire. The critics who saw the early episodes are using words like ferocious, lived in, the performance of her career. Watching her stare down a room full of men, waiting for her to fold, you don't see acting. You see a woman who has already buried every demon they're trying to resurrect. Demi Moore never got the luxury of an easy chapter. No stable parents, no safe teenage years, no gentle Hollywood ascent. Everything she has, her sobriety, her daughter's laughter in her house again, this blazing third act was clawed back from ruins most people would have stayed buried in. That's why, when the camera pushes in close on Cammy Miller's face, grief still fresh, power newly claimed, you feel it in your chest. It isn't pretend. Some people survive. Some people transcend. Demi Moore did the second by refusing to stop doing the first. And every time she steps in front of a lens now, at 63, sober, steady, and more alive than ever, she's proving the same thing to the rest of us. The story isn't over until you decide it is. Hers is still being written, and it's never been more beautiful.